In the last class, we have seen how Selenium WebDriver is to be set up in Eclipse, how we start the functional, what is our approach of creating functional test cases for automation. So as we knew that we need to divide our test cases into two categories, GUI and non-GUI test cases. This is one of the approach. It's just a guideline. Probably every company has a different approach to write the test cases. It depends on what is the experience for that application, how that application is divided, how is developed, and it depends on the experience of the test engineer who is writing test cases, right? So this is one of the approach in which you are dividing the type of test cases into various categories, and you as an automation test engineer you'll be not only working on the GUI elements, you will be working on the functionality of the services provided by the uh, application. Sometimes what happens when you are writing the test cases, these test cases, let's say there are 5 test cases here. Sometimes 2 or 3 test cases might be clubbed together to create one test cases in JUnit or TestNG, whatever testing framework you are using. For example, if you see here in test SR logo, I am actually asserting two things. I'm asserting this image and this image. For example, I can give you an example. For on the first page, I'm just asserting the title. In this example, I can assert some certain other things also. So let's say ebook store. I can assert the header and footer. So every page has certain elements, certain static elements. Sometimes you will see some certain header and certain footer. So this footer would be there on every page. So do you think when you are writing test cases for all the pages, you will be again and again testing this footer? Obviously not, right? So you will be testing the footer just once. So another approach is you can actually divide your test cases into static and dynamic elements also. So this particular part of the application, particular part of the page is a static element. So it doesn't change. It is same on every and same on every web page, right? So what we'll do, we can actually create a separate test case for this, and then while we are implementing this test case in Selenium, we would create a separate class. So in today's class we will talk about the page object pattern, which is the most widely used pattern in functional automation testing. uh, if you are aware of QTP, there are actually different kinds of frameworks. So frameworks, we have already discussed, is basically a guideline to write your test cases. Like in a WebDriver framework, we are using page object pattern. So what is actually page object pattern all about? In page object pattern, we divide our web application into various web pages, right? So let me note it down. Every web application is a set of web pages. Each web page has certain, you can say, functionalities and services. Each web page, or I would say each web application, there are some static elements and some dynamic elements. Like for example, your header and footer. Header and footer are static, right? They don't change. So if you go to some other website, let's say you go to mm, expedia.com. If you see here, this part is always static. If I go to vacation packages, again you will see this kind of uh, link, these kind of links like hotels, cars, and you will see welcome and all these kind of links. This is your header, and your footer might be always be carrying. If you see, this line is dividing your footer, and you will find on all pages these links and these uh, table elements, right? So these are the static part. What is changing? The changing the mid part is changing depending upon what kind of service you want. Like you want to search for a flight or hotel, or flight or car, or hotel or car, right? So when you are design your framework, you have to check for the static elements as well as your dynamic elements. So coming back to this page object pattern, each web application there are some static and some dynamic elements. So what we do, we create a page class for every web page under test, right? Each page class contains methods which defines the functionality or services on that page, right? What does it mean? We in the last class we created a home page, right? So we wanted to test the home page of ebook store, ebook Sony store. On ebook Sony store, if you see here, let's go to ebook store. What are the various functionalities here? Like you can actually click on sign in, you can click on register, you can go to my account. There is a menu bar, there is a sidebar, there is a middle element, right? There is a footer. You have recently viewed links. So these are the various functionalities of this particular page, right? There can be some functionalities which are repeated on all pages. Like one of the functionality is your static elements that might be repeated on every page. There might be some other functionality also. For example, here we have the search functionality. If you go to bestsellers, the search functionality is again it's there, right? It's the same thing. So the same functionality is repeated, right? So what we do in page object pattern, we create the page class which have every page have some discrete functionalities. You put all those discrete functionalities in that page class. Then every page might have some common functionalities like header, footer, some common services, some common business, right? Create. So what we do, we create a separate class which defines these common services, right? Now in each page class, in each page class method, what we write? In each page class method, we define the flow of action for a business scenario, right? So what does it mean? Let's say this I go to discover page, right? This is a discover page which actually gives me certain links, like divided into various categories like browse, popular, collections, subjects. In subjects we have fiction, non-fiction, and in these sidebar we have two advertisements. First is for New York bestsellers, and second might be of the reader app, and then we have some recently viewed and couple of other things, right? So what we do is we have to there to test each of these functionalities. There is a different flow. What I mean by that, let's say I want to test the author's link, and I want to check whether these links are broken or not. So what I have to do, I have to go to first uh, home page, right? So this is your home page. Then I click on discover, and then I click on authors, right? So this is a different flow. One, two, there are three clicks, right? Now I want to check for the awards link. So I'll go back and click on awards link. So if you see here, there are certain steps for every functionality. So there are certain actions we need to take for to test every functionality. So your method actually contains these steps. Like here we just visited the home page and we got the titles. We didn't do actually a lot of actions here. So if there are three steps, you probably would be writing something like send keys or certain other way APIs. Like here also we didn't do any much actions. We just visited the page. So these actually methods with, let's say I'm writing another method here. So for home page, we have the search functionality. So this method defines the search functionality on home page, right? To do the search functionality, we have to do certain actions, right? So let me write a method here. Search by keyword, right? So to search by keyword, first what I have to do, first I have to go to home page, right? Then type some keyword, say whatever keyword I have there in my test data in the search box. Then what I have to do, I have to press go button, right? So that's how I'll be testing. I have to go to the home page. Then I have to click some keyword here, say testing, and then I have to I have to do, I have to press this go button. So there are three steps involved in this, right? And on my landing page also, this is a different landing page. So what I have to do, yeah, here I have to press the go button, and on the landing page, locate the list of items displayed, right? So I have to actually do all my assertions depending upon what are the list that what is the list that appeared, right? So these are the various actions, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? These are the four steps which we need to define. This is one business scenario, right? So in your user stories, or you will be writing different kinds of use cases for this business scenario. So again, like if whether it is a search by keyword, or is a search by author, or search by title name. If you see here, you can do the search for this by title, by author, by ISBN or keyword, right? For all these searches, the business scenario, like the flow of action, is just the same, right? Only the what you are entering, the data is different. So uh, does it make sense to write all these actions again and again in different methods? I would be having the search by keyword. I would be having another functionality like search by author. I would be having another functionality like search by ISBN. So, but all the steps would be just the same. So it's better to create the search flow, a method with like search flow, and call this method in different other methods. So I would, instead of writing search by keyword, I would say search flow, and then I would write method like say this method. checks the search feature by keyword, right? And here I would say search by keyword, and I'll call this search flow, and let's say I pass here some string, and here I write search string, and I'll pass here some keyword. So I'm just giving an example, right? And then whatever the results are coming up, so for the keyword there might be certain results which are coming up, so I'll be putting those results into a list or a hash map or anything, and I'll assert on those results. Similarly, if I have to do the search by author, so I would say this method checks the search feature by author, right? So again, what I have to do, I'll be creating a method like void search by author, and I'll call this method search flow, and instead of this I'll pass some author name, right? And then whatever the result is expected, I'll be putting that again into a list or anything. So what I'm trying to say is, when you are creating the page class, you might have to write methods in the you might have to write the methods which define the business scenario, right? And use that business scenario for various test cases. You do not have to actually write the code again and again for the same flow of actions, even if the test case is different. So this is a different test case. This particular use case would be different. This particular use case would be different, but they are using the same flow of actions. That is the reason I'm creating a common method, and I'll be using this common method here. So assuming that this here the search functionality is common in all the web pages. So instead of this, why can't we put this into a separate class, right? Only those functionalities which are you can say specific to that page, we would be writing those functionalities here. The rest of the common functionalities, we can create a common method, right? So I can create, instead of putting that search functionality here, I would say search feature, right? And then I would create those methods there. Am I making sense here? After we create all these specific web pages, page classes, and common page classes, then we'll have to create the corresponding test classes, right? For every page that we have created, we have to test that web page, right? We have to make it run on the WebDriver and check whether what we are expecting is actually there or not. So we have to do all those assertions in your test classes. So page classes only contains the actions, but in test classes you do the assertions. That means compare the actual versus expected is done in the test class. So in the last class also we did the same thing. What we did, we just created a method visit SR home page, and we wrote certain actions, and then we return the title. But where we are testing that whether it is right or not in the test class, right? So we created a test case method, test SR URL, and we created the object of that particular class, and then we write here the expected title. We call that particular method. So here this is the trick, right? So you call the method which actually defines the that service that you want to test, and then compare with the expected title. there could be some functionality like let's say on every web page there is uh, date coming up, right? So the date is a dynamic element. It's an Ajax element because every time you log in, the date and time would be different, but that might be present on every page. So it's a common functionality, but it is a dynamic element. Did you get this?
Okay, so here one more example we can see that it is the footer. Footer also comes like in the.
Yeah, footer also is a common functionality. So what we need to
Okay.
do, like we'll create a, we have search feature. Similarly, we'll create a class for header, right? In header,
Okay.
we'll create all these, we'll test for these images, we'll test for these links, we'll test for these links whether they are broken or not, right? And all, if you see here, go to any page, this header is just the same.
See.
So mostly your web application are designed like this. Go to Wikipedia. I'll take you to some other Verizon. Go to Verizon Wireless. This is your header, right? So go to any page, click on explore or anything. So this header would always be the same. The search functionality will always be the same. Similarly, they also have a footer. This
Okay.
part is footer, which is part of every page.
Common.
Yeah,
Yes.
so create a separate page class for this. Not a page class, it's a separate class for this feature. And
Yes.
then create, for every class you create a separate test class.
Yes.
You might divide, let's say you do not want to create all the test cases in one. Maybe you want to divide for GUI test cases, you want to put into one test class. For non GUI, you want to put it in another test class. But you have to be organized. So if you are organized, like the basic thing is writing test cases, so that you don't miss out anything. So you divide your even if you are writing the test cases, I would definitely recommend you to give the description. In the description or in type, always mention on what page you are trying to test,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that you do not miss out. So these are the specific services provided by that page. These are some common functionalities.
Yes.
So when you see the test, when your test cases are ready, it would be really easy for you to implement that in Selenium. But if you do the other way around, like you start doing Selenium and then write test cases, it's not going to work. Like you probably would miss out a couple of things.
Okay.
So the next step here is when we define the page classes, we need to create the corresponding test class. So then what we do, we create corresponding test class for each class designed in above steps, right? We do all the assertions in the test class so that our business flow is separated from the test cases on those separated from the test cases on that flow, right? So this is our generally we do like this, right? We take up a business scenario and we create multiple test cases, right? So you are writing your test cases in the test class, but you are defining that business flow in your page class, right? So this is about page object pattern. we can actually define some other classes also. Like sometimes you might you might be asked this question: why do we actually use page object pattern? Why can't we just put everything into one? Why can't we put assertions and checkpoints, whatever we are doing, into the page class itself? So what my your answer could be, when you define your business flow from separate your business flow from the test cases. So tomorrow when we want to let's say you write another test case on that functionality, right? So what you have to do, you don't have to change your business page class, right? You just have to add a test case into your test class and then rerun the test class. So you don't have to compile that page class again. So advantages are, first is modularity. So your code is basically divided into various modules, and you're here in your page object pattern, your modules are your page classes. So it gives you your code is more comprehensible. There is clarity, there is readability in the code, and there is scalability. That's what we are talking about. So tomorrow if you are adding some feature, let's say your this particular page, you are testing this page, right? Whatever is being done, it is done, it is still under production, and your developer is basically wants to add another functionality here somewhere. Let's say here he wants to place some ad at bottom of the page, right? So if you define your page object class, what still, even if it is under production, it is not visible on the page, your test can run, because it does not hamper the other functionalities. So tomorrow when he adds that functionality on the page, what you have to do, you have to just add another method in your page class with that functionality and add the corresponding test case into your test class. So it is more scalable. Scalable means you can enhance your framework, enhance your page classes according to the features and enhancements in your application. So it's a very good question, how we do soft assertion. So what is the difference between verify and assert? So this is actually one advantage which IDE has over RC and WebDriver. In IDE, we can do soft assertion. So there are different methods for doing uh, soft assertions and hard assertions. What is the difference between these two? Soft assertion means whatever you are asserting. Let's say on a web page, I go to this particular home page and I'm just making sure that the title is there, right? This is one assertion. If the title is not there, that means that web page is not loaded properly, right? I don't want to go ahead with the test case. I don't want to go ahead and find out whether these images are there or these links are there. I just want to end the test then and there. I don't want to proceed. This is a hard assertion. So this is we have to stop the test case there and there itself, right? But let's say this is a page. There is some text here. Let's say welcome to Sony, and the test case there are here that instead of authors there is a spelling mistake in author. So you are actually testing couple of things on one page, but if one fails, you don't want to actually you don't want to uh, stop the stop going further. You want to go further, but you just want to log in that particular assertion. So those are called soft assertions. So in IDE, we have this option of verify and assert. So verify means if particular thing, let's say it's not verified, it is coming as false, then the test case will not stop, it will go further. Assert means it will stop. The whole test case will be stopped, right? But when you're using JUnit and TestNG, like in Selenium WebDriver, when you're using, we have only assert, we don't have verify. So we have to create our own class so that we do not stop our assertions there. So what happened? My question is, when this assertion fails, let's say this assertion is failed, what would happen? When your assertion fails, it throws an exception, right? It throws an exception. What exception it throws? Assertion error exception, right? So when an exception is thrown, we know that if exception is thrown at this particular line, it will not go to next line. Okay, so what we can do, we can put this into a try catch block. When we put into a try catch block, even if it is failed, it will throw an exception, it will go to the catch block and it will come to the next line, right? So we can do try catch block here, but instead of doing that, let's do one thing. Let's create another assertion class. So what I'll do, I'll create a different package. I'll create a package like com.wbqa.wd.utilities. So these are the various here in the utilities. There would be certain classes which would be utilized, which would help me to, in this particular framework. So here I'll create a class called my assertion. In my assertion class, I would here you can actually, what will do, you will create your own methods. So I would say public void verify true, and I'll pass a string here with some message. So if my like that particular assertion fails, what string I want to log, what message I want to log, right? And then what I'll do, and then I would actually pass the condition also. The condition has to be a boolean. And what I'll do here, I'll create a try catch block. And in try block, what I'll do, I'll call this condition, right? So here I would write assert dot, and here we have to use the TestNG assert dot assert true condition, and I can give the message also, assert true condition. And if this fails, I have to catch this error, exception, assertion error. And then it's how do you want to log? You probably, if there is a logger, if you are using log4j API, there might be some other logger, or you want to log it into your TestNG logger using reporter.log, right? In reporter.log, what you'll write, you can say that you can pass this message. Okay, so what I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to catch this assertion here. Okay, and instead of, so here in my main class, where is my test class? In my test class, instead of writing assert true, what I'll create first an object of my assertion. say here my assertion is equal to new import this package, and then what will you do? My assertion dot verify true, and so here this is in the condition you will write images dot get 0 and write the message. Okay, and similarly for this also write your own my assertion dot verify true, and here you will say images dot get 1 and okay. So now let's try to call this, and let's try to fail this assertion. So I'm calling find logos. Where is my find logos? This is my find logos, right? Okay. So let's call this, and here instead of reader I'm putting reader store. So let's see whether it passes this method, this assertion or not. Okay, so just to ensure that it calls this as a method, let me put some statement here. And let's refresh this. You can see the console. Here if you see, okay, here if you see here I haven't given any failures, but I have logged the results, and you can, let's see here in my index.html. So if you see here the entering test row Sony image assertion, Sony image not found. So Sony image not found has been logged, and but the next image reader store assertion has passed, right? So the first one has failed, but my test case has still passed, because if you want you can actually uh, fail your test case also here actually in your my assertion. um, Here you can write say fail with this particular message. If you want to fail, like with that particular verification, you want to fail the whole test case, then you can write fail. If you don't want to fail the test case, you may skip this and just log in the details that this thing has failed, right? So Sony image not found has been logged in. So when you create your test report, you will see what all things have failed. So here you can write here something like fail, not here. You'll be writing it here. You can say fail with this message. Hmm. Why it is not coming here? You can actually put it here also. You need to put it into my assertion class only actually here, but it is not coming. Fail with the message. I don't think TestNG has fail method. Fail method is there in your J unit only, J unit 3 and 4. So if it is a J unit, then you can put it as a fail. Otherwise, it's in TestNG, you can simply write, put it into the reporter log. So the same thing we can do with JUnit, and then you have that option. Then your method will, your test case will also fail. In this case, your test case will pass, because if you see this console, here your test cases have passed. There are two runs and there are no failures, right? So it depends on how you want to create the test class. You want to fail it, or you want to continue with it. You want to log it into your log4j API, or you want to log it into your reporter.log, or you want to put it in on the console that the Sony image is not found. So what is the advantage of this? So when you are running your test cases, let's say you are running 10 test cases, so there would be 10 methods. Every method would have n number of assertions, right? So for soft assertion, you want to continue, you just log in. If there is some hard assertion, so instead of my assertion, simply write assert dot assert true or assert equals or whatever. Then your test case would fail. Otherwise, it would pass. Fine. Yeah. So if you want to fail the test case, you can put it in into the catch block here. And now let's try to run this again. Yes, Mamta.
Hi Shilpi, just now you said that how we reported using reporter.log, we
Yeah.
can use it log4j. How can we do that here?
I'll tell you how to use Log4j.
Okay.
Log4j is basically a different API which can be used with any of your Java classes. Basically, it's a Java API to do logging in your framework. So developers also use Log4j API. Testers also use Log4j API. Right now, I'm using TestNG reporter to log my results. So Log4j API, you have to actually import that jar into your program. into your project, and then you have to create a static logger, and then there are certain levels of messages you can log, like you can log the information when you are debugging, then you can do that. You can log as a warning, you can log the data as just an info, so that you can do using log4j API.
Okay. Okay.
Here now, if you see the result of your TestNG, the first one has failed, and it also mentions the message that has been passed, Sony image not found. So by looking at the exception, you can make out that what is the exact exception, but your test case has asserted for the next one also. So if you see the reporter, like TestNG reporter, you can refresh this. It it fails this thing, but in reporter output, yeah, it says that Sony image assertion, Sony image not found. So your image has not been found. It has been the test case has failed. But the disadvantage of this is when you fail your test case here I am doing failing the test case. So it is not going to go further, right? The whole test case then it fails because our TestNG, as I've said, does not support verify. It doesn't actually go for the next. If you remove this line, then it will go for the next assertion, right? So
Yes.
so there is no point of using, if you just want to make soft assertion to fail the test message here. Only for hard assertion you should make it here. So if you have a combination of soft and hard assertions in one test cases, so only with the one which you want to stop the test case, use fail. For the others, you can just simply report it into the logger. In every testing framework, reporting or logging of test cases is the most important thing, because you are doing automation testing as a result of regression, right? Every iteration there would be new enhancements, but you have to actually check for the previous work that you have done, right? You have to make sure that the previous functionalities are not broken, right? So you will be repeating these test cases again. You'll be running these test cases again and again, and just imagine if there are 100 test cases, it's really hard to find out, what test case failed and what how do you debug it, right? So your reporting and logging of the test cases is the most important thing, and it is one of the interview questions as well, that how was their reporting structure. So you in TestNG you can really rely on reporter.log, but the one which is the most famous is Log4j API. Log4j API, so let me just give you a brief introduction of Log4j API, although I won't be including it my framework. Yeah, so Log4j API is basically a jar file that you'll be adding to your project, right? So if you remember, we created some kind of a logger in our previous example, right? And we created a static file, a static object of file, and we opened that file and we were appending various messages into that file. So we created our own file. But let's say that you want to have certain levels of the kind of messages you are writing. So some messages could be an error, some messages could be a warning, in just some for for the information, and then probably you want to sometimes you want to put it into two files, one file, and let's say your log keeps on increasing. You don't want to use the same file. After 100 KB, you want to create another file. So these kind of things, either you can create your own class also, like just to handle everything, but Log4j API automatically handles all these things. So I'll show you. So you you download this Log4j API. It's basically a jar, and add it to your project. These are the various methods which are present. You have the get logger, and then you have the printing methods. So these are the methods where you divide your messages into various categories like trace, debug, info, warn, error, and fatal. And then you give like what kind of level you want to give, that you can pass here. So this is basically what there in the API, but you might not be using every part of this. Just giving you an example. Let's say you are doing something, you are writing your code, right? So there might be errors in the application, there might be errors in the script as well. So this is your script, right? This is your testing framework. In this testing framework, you might be writing certain test cases from one class, from another class. You want to log in the results, what classes have been tested, what are the various assertions that have failed, what are the that have passed, who are the authors, who ran the test at what time. So these are the various information in your framework that you want to log. It's not related to your test results. Are you getting me? So these are the information in the script that you want to log. So for that purpose, you probably, let's say you will get the loggers. You will say logger.get logger, and you can give a name to that logger, and then you set the level, like what level you want to log. You want to it's an info, you want to make it a warning, what you want to do, right? Then when you are trying to add a certain say information, let's say you are writing a program, you will say logger.info, entering the application, you do something, then exiting the application. So you are just maybe at the end of the each test case, or beginning of each test case, or maybe in a before method or before class, you are writing such kind of information, right? So this is one of the thing. And then there can be different kinds of appenders. Appenders means you can put this information on the console, like that logger can put in the console window, this window. So you would be having, when your tests are running, you will be having something printed here. And by looking at that particular log, you can make out that at this time, this test case has been, is being under process. And if there are any errors, you can just make out just by seeing this console. Or what you can do, you can create another appender. Instead of putting it only on console, you can put that information into a file. So you can have multiple appenders in the log. So let's say this is a console appender. You put a appender like this. If you want to create a file, then you say that it's a file. The name of the file is example.log, right? The maximum file size is 100 KB. That means if the log of the file, let's say you are running your test again and again every day, so your file size would increase, right? After 100 KB, it will take a backup. It will rename previous file example.log, and then it will create a new file with new messages, right? So automatically it is being done. You don't have to write any code. So you just have to create a configuration file and just give these configurations. Okay. So when you are writing this information, not only on the console it will be written, but also on the it will be written also on your log file, right? So this is a industry standard, and most of the companies are using Log4j API to do all the logging. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to some other very important concept of functional testing is cross-browser testing. So right now, if you see here, in before class, we have written driver is equal to new Firefox driver. Now let's say I want to run this test case, all these test cases in Chrome driver. So as we have seen that WebDriver API for every browser is different. So we have to give different implementations. So instead of Firefox driver, what I would write? I would write Chrome driver. Say I would write here Chrome driver, and you have to import this method. Sorry, uh, new Chrome driver, and it's already there. It must be imported here. If you see here, Chrome driver is already imported, and you have to do certain additional things when you do Chrome driver. What happens when your WebDriver API talks to your Chrome exe? So it's gonna run the Chrome exe. There is a binary which is actually included. Binary means it's another file which works as a mediator between your WebDriver API and your Chrome application. So for Firefox, that particular mediator is already there in Selenium server jar. It's already there in your this particular server standalone jar. But for Chrome, what you have to do, you have to download it from the internet. So, and then you have to actually set a certain properties. So what you have to do, you will Google something like this Chrome server, you can say Chrome driver for Selenium download. Mm, in downloads, you can go to Chrome driver. Here you have to actually go to this project, Chromium project. This site keeps on changing actually. Hmm, I think that download has been removed or something like that. Let me see. I already have this download here with me. C apps. Yeah, so we have once you will I'll try to locate this on web. So you will find this Chrome driver.exe executable. This is basically the intermediary between your WebDriver API and your Chrome application, right? You have to actually what you have to do. You have to copy this into your project. So in your project, you create a folder, say new folder, and give that name of the folder as lib. In this lib, you just copy paste this. Copy and say here, go here and say paste. So that exe, that Chrome driver.exe is copied here. Now what you have to do, you have to set certain properties, system properties. You will say system dot set property, and here you would say WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver, WebDriver dot Chrome. I think that's the only thing we have, and then you have to give the path for this, and your path is lib Chrome driver dot exe. Yeah, webdriver.chrome.driver. And after you done this, then you create this driver instance. So this is your next step. So the first step would be setting the property, system property, and then the next step would be creating the this driver instance. And rest is exactly the same, right? So now let's try to run this. And first time when you run, you might have this Windows firewall issue. So say allow access. And then if you see here that Chrome has opened your web page, right? So and your test case has been passed, right? The same thing if you see the Chrome driver as compared to Firefox is little faster. So sometimes when you are trying to locate some elements, so it might miss on certain elements. Okay. Similarly, like with Chrome driver, you can also say IE driver. So let me for IE again you have to do the same thing. You have to set the property system dot set property. But iDriver sometimes it has some issues. Let's try to do this. So here WebDriver dot IE dot driver, and again you will be downloading that Internet Explorer server, uh, IE driver server. So just copy paste this, copy, paste, and here you would type lib IE driver server dot exe, and you will initialize it as driver is equal to new Internet Explorer driver. Save this and let's run this again. Yeah, it's opening sony.com, right? So this is how your Internet Explorer would work. Another driver which I want to mention is HTML unit driver. So what is HTML unit driver? We have seen couple of drivers like here when you do cross browser testing, you will be testing our Firefox driver. So generally most of the companies will will say that first testing should be done on Firefox, then Chrome, and then on Internet Explorer. You can try with the Opera or some other browsers if you want. There is another driver which is called HTML unit driver. What is that driver? This HTML unit driver is basically a GUI-less browser. This is a GUI-less browser. It it's just it has all the browser features, but it doesn't show up. So this particular driver is used to run the test cases without the browser GUI. For example, let's say you want to run the test case on a Unix machine. On a Unix machine, you don't have a let's say you don't have a GUI, you don't have a Firefox or Chrome, you want to still run the test cases on that. So what you will do, you will use HTML unit driver. Another reason of using HTML unit, because your test cases run faster in HTML unit, because though no time is wasted in opening that browser and closing that browser and do those browser actions. So this works. So what I'll do here, simply I have to write here driver is equal to new HTML unit driver. So here when you run your test cases, the results will come out, but no browser will be displayed. So let's run this again. If you see here, my test results have come up, but there is no browser, right? So this driver is used to make test runs faster. You can see this chart. What are the various supports, like for IE6 we have on what platforms? Linux, Mac, mobile device, and like for mobile we have Android, and for Mac, on Mac we have Chrome, and then for Linux we have Chrome, and then we have Android as well. XP we have almost everything. We don't have obviously IE9 doesn't work on XP. For Windows 7 we have i9, Firefox 3.6 to Firefox 10 plus onwards, and Chrome, and Android as well. So Opera also, I don't think, I have never used it, but you can just try to Google and find it out. For IE driver also, this is the URL. I'm just trying to copy paste. Thanks, Mira. Okay. Now let's say you want to. There are a couple of test classes, and there are so many methods there. You want to create your test suite. So how to create test suites in TestNG? In JUnit, we used to create use @run with the class, right? So we used our test classes like this, right? JUnit test classes like this, @run with categories.class or parameterize.class. That's how we used to create in JUnit. In TestNG, there is a very interesting way. What we do, we create an XML. So let's create an XML here. So what I'll say, source new file, and I'll give the name as testng.xml. You can give any name you want. And then we have to create an XML according to the standard testng jar. So we have go to testng.org, and you can go to the documentation. In documentation, you will find some sample. So let's copy paste this. So there is a standard doc type. Rest of this is we can configure. So I'll explain this. So this is the standard doc type. You can give the name to this test, like you can create various test runs. So let's say I want to create right now just one test, and I want to run it in Firefox. So then what are the classes I want to run? So here you would include the test classes. What are the various test classes that I have created? So this is my test class that I have created. So you'll copy the qualified name, which actually includes the package name as well, and just copy paste here. So this is your com.wbqa.test.test homepage. So if there are one test class, if you are two test classes, all you would be writing it here. Okay. So here we have just one test class. If you want, we can create some other test classes also, and then save this. Right. Now let's try to run this. Now instead of running from here as a TestNG set, I want to run this as TestNG suite. So I'll run this XML and say run as TestNG suite. Although I've given the name as Firefox, but I think it's going to run in HTML driver. Yeah, so it has run in HTML driver. And what I wanted to show you here, the suite name is suite 1. If you see, the test name is Firefox, and these are the various classes that are part of this test. If there are 5 classes, all the 5 classes would come with all their methods that have passed or failed. Right, so you can create your own suites. Uh, so in TestNG, there are certain other annotations apart from this. Let's say I want to parameterize what browser I want to run my test on. So what I can do, I can create a parameter. Say parameter name is equal to browser, and value for this test, I want value as Firefox, and let me create another, and I want to run those in Chrome. And here let's say I want to give the value as Chrome, and if you want, you can run the same test, another test with the IE or HTML unit driver. So what I am doing, I'm creating the parameter. If you see here, the name of this parameter is browser in both. So how to integrate it into your test class? Go to your test class. So let me close all this. This is my test class, and here mm, yeah, @parameters, and here you will say browser. Right, browser is the name of the parameter, and now pass, this is a string, right? The value is a string, give it as a browser, and here if I'll write if browser dot mm, equals Firefox, then say driver is equal to new Firefox driver. Else if browser dot equals say Chrome, then run it in the Chrome. And you can do it for exe Internet Explorer also. Else if browser dot equals, say, IE, then you have to do these things. Right? Else, if nothing is mentioned, like is something else, you can actually use driver is equal to HTML unit driver. Right? So what we have to do, if see here we have two tests, and let's try to run these tests. Let's see how they will run. So let me just close all the windows, and I'll start run my TestNG. Yes, we can do run the browser at the same time. That's called parallel testing. First it ran on Firefox, now it is running on Chrome. Right, so it create, if you see this suite, in this suite we have two tests. First test name was Firefox, the other was Chrome. On both the test or classes, like if you see here, the classes of both the classes have run, all the methods have run in those classes. Right, now let's say I want to do the parallel testing. Here it is in sequential form, right? So first test case ran, then second test case ran. To run this test parallelly, we can add here, say, parallel is equal to, here you would say, what are we running in parallel? We are running the test in parallel. This is test, right? So we are running, we want to run the test in parallel. So we'll write parallel is equal to test and save this and run this again. So if you see here, both the browsers are opening at the same time, right? So both the tests are running in parallel. So when you have long test, then you can actually run your test in parallel. And this is one of the most important interview questions. How to run your test cases in parallel, right? So you can use TestNG to run your test in parallel. Okay. So far we have covered how to do cross-browser testing, how to do parallel testing, like if you want to run your test cases in parallel. Let's take up some scenarios, like what kind of test cases you will be creating. So we have already seen, like some of the GUI based test cases. So we can do some non-GUI. For example, I want to test some functionality. So on eSony book reader, so the one of the most important functionality is search functionality. So I'll write here the test case functional non-GUI. So I probably you can say non-GUI, and here we want to um, checks the search feature with author, right? So again, the precondition is test case 1 has passed. Then what are the various steps? We have to launch the browser, go to the website. So go to home page. Then we have to see, type the author. Say we are doing valid and author testing, right? So valid author name in search box. Then third step is press enter. or press go button. Okay, and then what is the expected output? Your expected output is uh, the list of books with the author name is displayed. So here actually there can be a couple of test cases here. We can use author's first name, we can test with author's middle name or last name. For whatever we are using, we should get the list. So let's try to uh, automate this thing. So what we'll do, we'll go to test home page, and here not test home page, the home page. So where are my test? In my home page class, I would write another method here. So this method search feature by author. So let's try to add all these lines. Go to home page. So I would say driver dot get, and here actually instead of typing in again and again, we can actually create a static final here. So you can say uh, static final string and app URL, which is equal to right. And actually your website might be containing some other constants also, and generally finals are put in capitals just to make sure that these cannot be changed. So you can copy this and put it here, right? So go to home page, then type keywords in the search box. So what will we say? Driver dot send uh, driver dot get. First we have to driver dot find element. So we have to look for that particular search box. So we'll go here. See, go to your ebook store. What is the X path of this search box? Right click, say inspect element, and here you can say title is equal to this, name is equal to ID is equal to keyword. So here you can say by dot ID, and ID is keyword. Just ensure that the capitals or like the case is matching, and this is gonna return you a web element. So this is a web element, and what is this element? Search box, right? And then you have to say search box dot send the keys. And what you want to send the key, you have to enter some kind of data here. Say I'm writing here Oliver. Okay, and then you have to search for the go button. Again, it's a web element, and you will say go button is equal to driver dot find element. Check for this go button. What is the ID? Submit search. So you will say by dot ID submit search, and then you will say go button. What we are doing, we are clicking it, right? So we are clicking this go button, and then on the landing page you want to locate some elements. So what happens if I'll type here some keyword? Say I'm typing here, this is my landing page, right? And on my landing page here, in my title, if you see, let me show you the title. The title should show search results for Oliver Reader Store. Okay, so I want to ensure this page is has appeared. So what I'll do, on the landing page I have to get the title. Say string title is equal to driver dot get title, and you want to say return the title, because you want to see whether it has landed on that uh, so I'll make this as a string. Now you want to do some assertions. So you have whatever the flow of the business scenario you have put down here in this particular method, and then you have to call this method in your test class. So this is your test class. Create a method here, @test, say @test public void test search, and here you what you'll do, again you will create a page class. Page object is equal to new home page, and you have to actually pass the driver here, and say search flow, and then you have to pass the search string, and this is returning a string. So this is your actual title. And what is your expected title? Say let me put this into a parameter, string keyword is equal to Oliver, and you just want to check like your expected title um, the actual title should contain this keyword, right? So here we would say um, assert true, actual title dot contains this keyword. And if you want, you can actually add certain message if it is not found. Say keyword not found in search search results title, right? So let's try to run this, and we'll use the TestNG. And right now I don't want to actually run the test in all both. So let's run this if you want. Mm. Generally, your approach should be you first should test all your test cases in one browser. Once they are running in one browser, and then you start creating the framework for make it run in other browsers as well. So if you see here, it has typed Oliver, and these are the search results. And now it is running in Chrome. It is typing Oliver. So your test has passed. Test search on both the browsers, your search has passed, right? So now you like if you see here, we have used contains keyword here. Now let's do another test case. Another test case is let's say on the home page. So where is your home page? This is your home page. Now in this page, I want to find the list like under the browse category, all these list items should be there. How would you write this? You can add the test case like here. Say test case 6. This is functional GUIs. So here in this test case, we will be writing left menu browse list has all the items, right? So our first step is just the same. The second step is the precondition is just the same. The steps are just same as the other functional GUI because this is home page. And here in expected list, you can say the browse list has how many items are there in the browse list? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? So has 7 items, and you can name the items from A, B, C, and so on and so forth. Right? So these are the items. So let's try to automate this. So what we'll do, again we'll go to the home page, create another method, say this method locates the browse list and create something like this public and here I'm going to return a list type. So I'll create a list of strings and I would say find browse list. Okay, and say driver dot get app URL, and here now you have to locate this particular element. So first you have to find this. What is this element? This is basically our header with h2, and under this header so this is not under, it's at the same level. There are certain list items. Okay, so let's try to find the XPath for this. So how would I do this? So first find the browse element um, and then find the first OL in this sidebar single. This is first sidebar single. Okay. So what we'll do, $X, you have that browse only. So find H2 with the text is equal to browse. Right? Now we have to find its parent. We have to find the parent and is there are following sibling also, right? Mm, yes. What is the access for following sibling? Following sibling. Yeah, selects all the siblings. Following sibling is the access. I want the following sibling. So what I'll do, I'll say following sibling OL. Right? Now you have got that list, right? And then what you have to do, here in this you have to find all the list items. So these are all the lists. This list we want. So just copy paste this. And here if you see this, in this X path, we don't have one element which is retrieved. We have n number of elements retrieved. So how would you tackle this this thing? So just copy this. Here you are expecting more than one. So so what I'll do, you are not expecting one web element, you are expecting number of web elements. So I'll put list web element and here say links, and I would here driver dot, instead of find elements I would use find elements s, and by dot xpath. This is my xpath, and here we have got that list, right? Now I want to get the text for all the elements of this list, and I want to put it into another list. Say links text is equal to new array list of string, right? And then what we'll do, we'll use an iterator while links dot, and we can always first is we have to first check whether that size is same or not. So we can get the size also. Int size is equal to links dot size. So this will tell how many actual are there, and then what we have to do, while say links dot has no, we have to put an iterator, right? So create an iterator, say iterator it is equal to links dot iterator, import it from Java util, and this is basically iterator on the web element, so you can put it, and say dot it dot has next, and I'm just trying to add say string text is equal to it dot next, dot get text, and then you have to add it to this links text. Links text dot add. Okay, and this way you will get the list, and return, you have to return the links text. So let me explain it again what I'm trying to do. First I went to this particular URL, then I find the element with this XPath. This XPath is basically giving me not one web element, it is giving me list of web elements. So all these lists would be coming into this XPath. Now what I'm doing, I'm iterating it through all the list, iterating through all this particular list one by one, and I'm getting the text. I want to get the text, right? When I get the text, I will get this authors, this awards, this I'll get that all these text, and I'm putting that into uh, another list called links text, and I'm returning that links text link. Now in my test page, I'll create another test method, say @test, and I would say public void uh, test browse links, browse links, right? And again create, and here I would call hp dot find browse list, and this is gonna retrieve me a list of strings, say actual list is equal to this thing. And what is my expected list? So I would create an expected list. It's a string array. Let us create a string array. New string, right? So first is authors, second is awards, right? What is the third one? Um, bargain priced. I can copy it from here. Wait. Then we have bundles. Kids corners. Magazines. Right now I'm copy pasting here, but in real world, like you will be getting this test data from somewhere else, like probably from an Excel sheet or some CSV. So we'll see how you'll get the test data, right? So this is your expected list, but this is a array strings. You have to convert into a array list, right? So you have to say list string expected list is equal to arrays dot to arrays dot as dot as list, and give this as L, right? And then you, what you will do, so you will say your assert dot assert true, your expected list should contains all, like you can say equals also, or you can use contains also. So you can say expected list dot contains all the actual list, right? So whatever is in the actual list, it is part of expected list that we are asserting here. So let me just quickly go through what we are doing. We are putting all the list into an iterator and adding it to a list, and then we are asserting whether my expected contains the actual. So let's run this suite. So all my test cases would run. Okay, so these are the test results. So let's try to analyze this. So we have two suites. We have couple of these test cases. If you see here, my test browse links, it is actually taking the assertions are true. If you miss out something, like if I, let's say if I change this my this thing, so that again my test case would fail, right? So now everything is same. Just ensure that the cases are always same, because it is within double quotes, which assumes that small s is different from capital S, right? So apart from this, I think everything should be clear. This is your expected, this is your actuals. That's the reason we learned collections, because whenever we are comparing the actual with expected, we would be doing in the form, like we would be using some kind of collections. Here we are using list. Probably sometimes we would be using hash maps, or maybe some sets or something, right? So if you think that this list should not contain repeated elements, then instead of list, use a set. Okay.